The loud laughter echoed across the college courtyard like thunder. Hundreds of students stopped walking, pulled out their phones, and began recording. In the middle of the crowd stood a tired single father wearing faded sneakers, an old gray hoodie, and jeans patched at the knees. His backpack looked older than most of the students surrounding him. As cruel whispers spread through the campus, he lowered his eyes, trying to protect the only thing he had left, his dignity. Nobody standing there realized that before the sun set that day, the entire college would regret laughing at the poorest man on campus. Before we continue, if you believe kindness is more powerful than wealth and that everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Legacy. Your support helps us continue sharing inspiring stories that remind the world compassion still exists. Every morning before sunrise, Silas Rowan woke inside a tiny one-bedroom apartment where the wallpaper peeled from the walls and every dollar mattered. His 6-year-old daughter, Marin, slept peacefully on a small bed beside the window while her father quietly prepared breakfast from whatever remained in the refrigerator. Some mornings it was toast. Other mornings it was oatmeal. On difficult days, he pretended he wasn't hungry so his little girl could have a full meal before school. Silas had once dreamed of becoming an engineer. Years earlier, life had seemed full of endless possibilities until tragedy struck. His wife lost her battle with cancer shortly after Marin was born, leaving him alone to raise their daughter while drowning in medical debt. He worked construction during the day, cleaned office buildings at night, and somehow still found enough energy to read bedtime stories before both of them fell asleep exhausted. When the construction company closed unexpectedly, everything changed. Jobs disappeared, bills continued arriving. Still refusing to give up, Silas enrolled in a nearby community college after earning a scholarship designed for adult learners returning to school. His hope was simple: if he could finish his degree, he could finally provide the stable future his daughter deserved. But college wasn't welcoming to a man who looked twice the age of most freshmen. Every lecture reminded him that he didn't belong in the eyes of many classmates. While younger students discussed vacations, expensive gadgets, and weekend parties, Silas worried about paying rent and buying school supplies for Marin. He attended classes after working overnight cleaning offices, often struggling to stay awake because sleep had become a luxury. His clothes were always clean but worn. His laptop was over a decade old. Sometimes it froze during presentations, causing quiet giggles across the classroom. Instead of complaining, he smiled politely and continued working harder than everyone else. One afternoon, the college announced a prestigious innovation competition where students would present ideas capable of improving local communities. The winning project would receive a full university scholarship and enough funding to launch the idea. Silas spent weeks creating a practical low-cost water purification system designed for disaster zones and struggling neighborhoods. Every night after putting Marin to bed, he sat at the kitchen table sketching designs while drinking cheap instant coffee to stay awake. His daughter became his biggest supporter. She colored beside him while whispering that he would win because heroes never quit. Those simple words became stronger than any motivational speech. Presentation day finally arrived. Students arrived wearing expensive suits, carrying polished presentation boards and high-end computers. Silas walked across campus wearing his only clean hoodie because he couldn't afford business clothes. He carried his old backpack carefully, protecting the homemade prototype he had built from recycled materials collected over several months. As he entered the courtyard, a group of wealthy students noticed him. One loud voice joked that the janitor must have gotten lost. Another laughed that someone should give him spare change before he embarrassed himself inside the competition. Within seconds, more students gathered. Phones appeared. Videos started recording. Someone mocked the holes in his shoes. Another pointed toward his backpack and joked it probably contained empty soda cans collected for recycling. Silas remained silent. Years of hardship had taught him that arguing with cruel people rarely changed their hearts. Then something even more painful happened. A student grabbed the microphone being used for announcements and sarcastically welcomed the poorest inventor in college history. The crowd exploded with laughter. Silas felt every pair of eyes staring at him. His face burned with embarrassment. He thought about leaving. He thought about Marin waiting after school, believing her father could accomplish anything. He tightened his grip on the backpack instead. Without saying a word, he walked straight through the crowd while insults followed behind him. Inside the auditorium, judges welcomed every contestant equally. Unlike the students outside, They focused only on ideas. Silas carefully assembled his prototype using recycled plastic, affordable filters, and simple engineering principles that could save thousands of lives during emergencies. When his turn arrived, he didn't begin with technical details. He began with a story. He spoke about families who couldn't afford expensive purification systems. He described children drinking contaminated water after hurricanes and floods. He explained that innovation should serve people, not just investors. The room became silent. Even students who had laughed earlier slowly lowered their phones. His voice wasn't polished. His presentation wasn't flashy, but every word came from experience. Every design choice reflected years of solving impossible problems with almost nothing. The judges asked difficult engineering questions. Silas answered every one calmly. Years of studying late into the night had prepared him far better than anyone expected. By the time he finished, the audience erupted into genuine applause. Not polite applause, respectful applause. Later that afternoon, while judges calculated final scores, an elderly professor quietly approached Silas. He recognized him immediately. Years earlier, the professor had supervised one of the nation's leading engineering research programs before retirement. After reviewing Silas's project notebook, he realized something astonishing. Several mathematical solutions inside the design solved problems researchers had struggled with for years. The professor asked where Silas had learned advanced engineering concepts. Silas simply smiled. He admitted that after losing his job, he had spent countless nights studying free online textbooks while his daughter slept. Knowledge had become the one thing nobody could take away from him. The professor shook his hand with visible emotion. When award announcements finally began, excitement filled the auditorium. Third place, second place, neither name belonged to Silas. Students whispered that perhaps the poor father hadn't even placed. Then the dean stepped onto the stage carrying the first place trophy. Instead of reading only the winner's name, he shared the judges' comments first. They described an invention capable of changing thousands of lives. They praised resilience, creativity, compassion, and extraordinary engineering. Finally, the dean announced the winner. Silas Rowan. For several seconds, nobody moved. Then the auditorium erupted. Students who had mocked him earlier stared in disbelief. Faculty members stood first. Soon the entire audience followed with a standing ovation. Silas walked toward the stage fighting back tears. He accepted the trophy with trembling hands, not because he had won, but because someone had finally seen beyond his worn clothes. The dean then surprised everyone again. A major technology company sponsoring the competition had watched every presentation. Their executives immediately offered Silas a full-time engineering position, complete tuition assistance to finish his degree, and funding to develop his purification system for communities across the country. The applause grew even louder. Outside the auditorium, the same students who had laughed now avoided eye contact. Some quietly deleted the videos they had recorded. Others approached to apologize sincerely. Silas accepted every apology without anger. He understood something many people never learn. Sometimes ignorance speaks before kindness has a chance. That evening he picked up Marin from school carrying the trophy in one hand. She ran toward him with the biggest smile he had seen since her mother's passing. When she asked if he had won, he knelt beside her and handed her the trophy. He told her it belonged to both of them because every late night, every sacrifice, every shared meal, and every bedtime promise had helped make that moment possible. Weeks later, news of the story spread across local television stations. The viral videos no longer showed a poor father being mocked. Instead, they showed a determined parent proving that dignity cannot be measured by clothing, money, or appearance. The college launched a new mentorship program for adult learners and struggling parents after recognizing how many talented people silently battled financial hardship. Students began organizing clothing drives, scholarship funds, and tutoring groups inspired by Silas's example. One act of cruelty unexpectedly transformed an entire campus into a more compassionate place. Silas never became bitter. He became successful without forgetting where he came from. Years later, whenever new students felt embarrassed by their circumstances, professors often introduced them to the story of the single father who walked onto campus wearing patched jeans and left as the man who changed countless lives. His greatest achievement wasn't winning a competition. It was teaching everyone that true wealth is measured by perseverance, humility, and the courage to keep walking forward even when the whole world laughs. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with your family and friends, and subscribe to Kindness Legacy. Your support helps us continue spreading stories that inspire kindness, hope, and second chances. Heart special request. Before this story ends, comment below with the words, "Kindness always wins," if you believe no one should ever be judged by their appearance or financial situation. As the sun set over the same college courtyard where humiliation had once echoed through the air, Silas walked hand in hand with Marin. The laughter that had once tried to break him had been replaced by respect earned through quiet determination. His journey reminded everyone watching that life can change in a single day, but character is built over years of sacrifice. Sometimes the poorest person in the crowd carries the richest heart, and sometimes the greatest victory isn't proving others wrong, it is refusing to let their cruelty change who you are. And that is a lesson worth carrying for a lifetime.